Almanac of the Swarm. First comb. Listen, little daughter. This tale will nest an egg inside your heart. Nurture it. Bless it with rotten mint and the bones of your enemies. You will need it hatched to go where I have gone. Only then will I hold you and say that you are beautiful. Only if you ascend with me will I call you mine. At the start of our ascension, we were a colony without direction. Hornets infiltrated our hive, and like we should have, we attacked as one. But somewhere along the line, we lost sight of our true purpose, to ascend to become the purest vessels of the sculpture's power. The targets, the corrupted. After Sophia's blood boat landed true on the murmur stone, it yawned open. Rip light poured from the stone's mouth. Blue, in curtains. Divine. The first stage of our ascension was at hand. The Death Pact fled. Appendages from our Lord erupted as altars from cracks in the soil. 4 hunters more blessed by the sculptor than we rose with them. Bloated. Alive. Not alive. 4 drowned angels full of mud. We shot and fired and bombed and pushed, but they paired off. They pushed back with filthy weapons and insects I would have held so close to me. So precious and holy, but they sacrificed them. They should not be forgiven. To see them set my heart on fire, it made me doubt my vows, and so I crushed my heart to pull the trigger of my gun and believe once more. One of our brothers leapt from an altar onto the murmur stone, dynamite in his teeth. The explosion stilled the air, and the stone shrieked, opening up like a jaw before it caught on one of our sisters. Diving away with her into the soil, it ripped her apart, smearing a long red line as it went. Oh, I can feel it. Some queen is ready to descend from the fog and lay her lava with a quiet thorax. How I wish to go up to such soft flesh and palpitate it like her. How I want to be the first thing seen by what's born from that womb. How I wish I could birth anything other than a human. Almanac of the Swarm. Second comb. When you were a baby, I placed you in a beehive. The bees did not sting you, but you cried and soiled yourself. Even then, the bees forgave you, crawled down your throat to let you know. But you couldn't accept their forgiveness. I am earning that forgiveness for you. Everything I do is for you. Butcher's cleaver failed us. Brothers and sisters gathered at the sawmill for his sentencing. The cow had bound the cleaver to the base of a log flume. We were forbidden to chant. We were instructed to think. I am thankful for our leader bringing us together, the cow said. But I am ashamed of his failure in securing the Murmurstone's graven path, the passage to our lords. A brother hooted. A sister slid a katana through his throat. At the flume top, Morgan and Median poured out a large trough. Beetles glistened in the torchlight as they rushed in a black flash of abdomens. I spooned blood honey into the butcher's cleaver and it drew in the swarm to envelop him. The sounds of insect ecstasy were broken by the crack of a rifle. The cow worked the action of his crag, and another shot rang out. The swarm of beetles took each bullet, shredding in a spray of mandibles, feelers, exoskeletons. We must imagine a new kind of violence, the cow continued. The way one creature does not stop eating another until its body is gone. More shots, more holy carnage, more beetles pouring down the flume to replace their fallen. See how they move? No leaders, no weak points, just purpose, pure and noble. We listened to the cleaver's muffled squeals as the beetles continued to feast on the honey, on him. We shall become like the swarm, he concluded. Find your own way, deceive, lie, incinerate. Surge until the graven path is found. If you fail, the other packs will ascend. Punishment is all that will await you. Almanac of the Swarm, third comb. The only way to split my soul was to have you, with you. I could feel twice as much, see twice as far. You were to be a queen in a queenless land. You were to be a miracle of a daughter, not a curse. We Demented got to the mine first and uncovered the passage. The cow was pleased. He spared me. My brothers and sisters had gathered plenty of others to bless the graven path for our ceremony. Bleed the path wider for us, he commanded. Deep underground, all sounds were amplified. 5 unpledged hunters were pinned by lances in a circle around the rift passage. Their blood leaked into the graven path and made it pulse with waters from the land of the dead. We tossed Mr. Cherry's equipment in. Knives, brackets, jars of organs, more knives and restraints. The hole widened. We worship our targets as devotees, acolytes, the cow told us. But perhaps it is the targets who worship us. We will seek them out. It is time to give them our blessings. We forced groups of unpledged through the graven path and stormed forth in their wake. 1,000 ship bells rang, and through their echoes, we sank. At the graven path's end, I slid into a fountain. In the distance, a great mound loomed, spiraled and kinked and made by giants of insect kind. Lightning flashed, and monsters hunched and furrowed in the distant mists. Legends unknown plucked me from this throne. So a legend myself, I set to become. Almanac of the Swarm, 4th comb. The first time I was stung, I cried with joy. The blessing of a stinger is holy. The spreading of venom and blood makes openings in your soul. From there, our Lord's thoughts emerge. But some thoughts you must be weary of, child. Some thoughts must be killed before they kill you. We pushed groups of unpledged hunters in front of us, blindfolded and tied to ropes. We shot them if they slowed. The landscape reacted to our swarm. Armors hulked from the fog, sheared limbs, the air filled with hive screeches. And we fired and impaled and reveled in the mud, and bowed we spilled. Statues of monsters forgotten by books and time blocked our way. Herds of decayed horses frozen mid-gallop. Fleeing a skeletal giant, a tree-high horse to rule all horses, its ribs split open and sucking in old soldiers and the equine alike to mash them with its bones. The closer we came to the mound, the more deranged the fights became. Our crusade pushed through herds of leeches and waves of grunts that set off old ship mines buried in the mud. Every hunk of shell lodged in our flesh only affirmed our vows. Bite wounds and poisoned spines became the language of our story. We were chosen to rule over this endless place. Chosen. We had been chosen. We would prove it at the mound under a dying moon. Almanac of the Swarm, 5th Comb. Little one, I've seen the hive where all souls converge. Sky high and stretched with star larvae. Lords quivered from those constellations and combs. Their eyes wept with all the love we waste. And there, in the black rain, I tasted all I've wasted on you. When I recall the flavor and spice of it, I almost remember how to forgive you for leaving me. Cracks from the steamship's impact broke open the slope of the mound. Inside were layers upon layers of the target's pupae. They spilled out, goo slick, tarnished and black in the fertilizer of banishment. My demented guzzled in their rawness. They slurped and burrowed into the pulsing nursery until they were out of sight. I didn't join them. They ignored the Delphine's ghost, but the ship's journey had not ended. It struggled against wind, and the ichor gushing out the gate. So I boarded in secret. I knew there was a greater miracle to behold beyond these gestating targets. And so, I left my kin behind to journey into the mound. Only the drowned were left aboard the ship, dead, quiet and still. The paddle churned for years, decades. Sculpted cones spiraled along the walls into the sky. Each glowed with stars, eggs, larvae, promises from beyond. After an eternity, we beached onto an island at the core. Every altar ever made was stacked in a maddening pile. To see it in dark sight was to stare at the sun. At the pile's peak was a platform for a statue, but it was empty. I abandoned ship, dodging gunfire from the drowned until at last I climbed upon the platform and made myself a legend above all others. A black rain poured from the high combs. I opened my mouth to taste it. As the first drop touched my tongue, I felt the rumbling of a queen about to descend. Energy flowed from the altars and swirled overhead. The walls burst and caved. An egg spiracle winded down from the center of the rift storm, and the fools fired their guns, their lances, tossed in flaming jaws and explosives that lit the cavern. All useless. I was to witness the molding of our desolations, Lord. I was to be a child to it, the kind of child my daughter was never brave enough to be.